Well, hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to my stream. Welcome to another chapter working on this guy right there, our A-10C Thunderbolt 2 by Great Wall Hobbies 1/48 scale model kit. We'll run that intro and we'll get started. We're going to continue with this. We didn't really get a lot done last time. In between our two episodes, I did a bunch of painting. Mainly a bunch of painting on the cockpit area. I painted up the ejection seat. That is all done. I did a bunch of other painting on a bunch of different parts that need the different colors, grays, like the XF87 IGN gray that I'm using for basically interior parts like wheel wells, landing gear, bays, interior, stuff like that. A little bit of the light ghost gray, the LP37, on some other parts such as all the armaments, which although I haven't done that, it's just a few little things here and there, stuff like that, just kind of getting prepared for assembly, which is what I'm here to show you, is how it all goes together. This is definitely not a painting tutorial channel, so yeah. Anyway, so I'll change the camera and we will get back to our build, shall we? Let's see here. Overhead cam, there we go. Alright, so as you can see, I've painted up the cockpit here and I put the decals down for all the instrumentation on those. These are all just decals out of the kit, right? These two sides here, those are all just decals. So you put those down, and then I used a whole 3, 4, maybe 5 applications of the MarkFit Super Strong by Tamiya, just to get those decals to really conform down to all the little buttons and switches in there, because this is a lot of raised detail here, and you got to convince the decal to sit down properly over all of them, right? Otherwise it just doesn't look right. So that's that. If it'll just stay focused for me. So yeah, we got that all done. Okay, and then I also painted up the ejection seat here. There's our ejection seat with our seat belts, oxygen tank on the side. Yeah, that's all done. Okay, no photo etch on this one. Those seat belts are molded in there. They don't look too bad, so I just did that. Good enough. Okay, and then where's the other decal for our main instrumentation main panel there? I put the decals down on that, and then after it was all dried and everything, I put a little bit of Tamiya X22 clear on those display faces, just to give them a nice little shine on there, like there's actually glass there, so certain angles the light will catch it and you can see it. It looks like gauges, right? That's the whole idea. Okay, so obviously our seat is all assembled, all finished, done, and I've painted it all up, and so it's all ready to go. So we're going to move down to our actual bucket here. Put the seat aside, we've got this guy. Alright, so we got to get O21, which obviously is our main display, and O20, which is our control stick, and O6, O6 is our throttle. So let's get our display off of here. Okay, and I have our control stick all painted up, all the little nice little colors that this control stick has, with the yellow and the silver and a couple of red buttons and gray buttons. Yeah. Careful where you cut it off here, you got to leave a little bit of a tab at the bottom. Okay, and then O6 is our little throttle. I've already painted it black. So let's get that off of here. Let you sit down there. Okay. So this guy, I just want to make sure I've got it off of there the way it's supposed to be. Where's my knife? It disappeared too. There we go. I get these out from underneath. Just make sure this is smooth on there. I will have to touch it up. Right, that's the problem with painting stuff on the sprue. Just make sure got this off of there nice and clean. Okay, so let's do a little test fit here and see how this fits. It looks like we just got two little tabs on the sides that go into these holes. Doesn't really want to slide in there. Fit is a little bit too tight, so I'm gonna, on the back side, I'm just gonna shave this down to a bit of a chamfer like this, so it'll still go in there, but now it's at a bit of an angle. Two axes. Is it axis? Axes or axes? It's plural. I don't know. And that did the trick. There we go. Okay, we'll glue that in. The other piece that's going to be, I already know it's going to be a challenge, is the throttle control, because it's got to go in right there through your decal, right? There's a hole right there, and I've kind of punched the hole with my knife here, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be hard to do. I don't want to grab this thing with my tweezers because I fear my tweezers will let it go flinging somewhere. So I'm going to grab it with my tweezers anyway, just because my fingers are too fat. I want to try and push that down into its hole. And that seemed to work. The peg on the bottom of it was small enough that I could push it in. Oop. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like this and get some Tamiya extra thin on it. Just going to kind of hold it there for a sec. Put some extra thin on the bottom. There we go. It's a little crooked. There we go. Okay. The throttle is in, and now we have our control stick. And it's kind of in the same category as the other two. It doesn't really want to go down into its hole. Try and get my tweezers down in here. Let's just try this right off the bat. Give that a push. It does not want to go in. So put it right there. And it went in. Yay. Okay, so it's in its place. So let's glue that down. It's nice when they've actually got a hole right through, so you can go in from the bottom without trying to get your brush down in there, and yeah. Okay, so I need to touch up my throttle, so just so that it's a little different from the rest of it, it kind of pops out. I'm going to do the LP1, or no, this is X1. X1 black, which is, of course, X is the gloss. XF, F meaning flat. So let's just touch up the top of this thing here. It seems to be still a little bit loose. Just painting it with my brush, I can move it a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, so that little touch up makes that done. Now I need to clean my brush off. All right. Okay, so with that done, we've got to grab N2. So I've got to find my N tree. Move my coffee out of the way. N. J. There's N. N number 2. This little guy right there, this tiny little guy. And he's supposed to be, well, he's the same color as the rest, but then the little knob on the top is supposed to be yellow. So let's get that off of there. There he is right there. So, a yellow knob on the top. I've got my yellow paint here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to dip him in the yellow. I'm just going to dip it in. I'm going to take him, this, and put a clip on him. Actually, before I do anything, I'm going to clean him up. A little bit of a nub on him. Okay, let's clean this up. Done. Put the clip on. And I'm just going to dip him. There we go. Now the little knob's yellow. That was easy. Isn't that the easiest way to paint? No cleanup, no nothing. There we go. Got the knob. The little tip is nice and yellow, just like it's supposed to be. Okay, but that also means we'll have to wait a minute before I can glue that in. And he's supposed to go right there into this little square. So whatever spot, this little spot right there, this is now covered up by the decal. So I have to try and figure out exactly where that is. It's right on the edge. It's on the edge right behind this little notch. See, each side of this has a little notch right here and right here. If I do it like this, you might be able to tell. See this notch here? Okay, so right behind this notch, right on that corner, right on that edge, there's supposed to be a little divot. Yeah, there it is right there. So it's kind of covered. There's a little hole. It doesn't go all the way through, but there's a hole covered by my decal. So I'm just going to kind of work that with my knife a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now we've got a little hole for that to fit into. It goes right there. Because I dipped it, that is kind of thick, and that's not going to dry for probably about 5 minutes. So I'm just going to leave that, and I'll put it on. I'm going to flip the page and see what's next. I've already, put this in. So let's see what's on page 2. Page 2 is more cockpit stuff. So we've got a couple of things here. I am going to do the canopy. I'm not sure. This big piece here, we've got canopy closed and canopy open. Obviously we have a couple of different options on what we're going to do. So let's grab I-21, I-19, and I-32. So we've got to grab my eye. Not literally. I don't want to grab my eye. That would be weird and awkward. Okay, so we want 19, 21, and 32. Here's 19. I really should go through every sprue on this and get rid of all these little balls, these nubs that are on these, like this. They are everywhere on this kit. These guys. See, there's 2 here. This guy here, like that. So much, everywhere. There's these here. Great Wall Hobbies really loves to make use of these to ensure everything gets printed out properly, I guess, or molded. So that was I-19. I need 21 and 32. Where's 21? Here's 21 up here. And then 32, this guy here. Alright, so this is our main piece here. This is, if you're going to have the canopy open, you're using this guy. And I see what, I kind of get what they're doing. Let's get rid of our little nub so I don't confuse these for parts. If you're doing canopy close, see, we have our 2 options here at the top. If you're doing it closed, then you're going to put these 2 together. I think what I want to do normally in everything I build, all the planes I build, I always, historically, I would do the option of having the canopy closed, but I wouldn't glue the canopy down. So we're doing, if we're doing closed, this part would go onto here, like this, and just kind of sit on there like that. There's only one tiny little tab for it to line up. Right at the front there, and it sits like this, like that. So I'll glue that down. Okay, like that. Because there's only one tab, you got to kind of line it up yourself. So that's that. Okay, and you can kind of see where this would be. It's kind of the same part almost, like this, and that's the difference, right? One open and one closed. But we need to add a part to this one. N24 goes onto the side. So N24, where'd my N go? Where did my N tree go? N tree, N. N24. This tiny little guy right there, he's almost ready to come off the sprue just on his own. Tiny little guy. A lot of tiny parts in this kit. And this guy goes in right in there. Let's clean up my nubs on this piece. This guy's going to get painted flat black at the end of the day. It'll be all black, matching the rest of the rear of the cockpit. Okay. So he's going to go in right there. Basically, they don't really show it that great here, but they show it kind of here, maybe. Let me see here. We have A-10C needs to go, oh, it's going down in there, and they're showing how it's supposed to be all put together. We show the two parts here put on the plane. With A-10C, which is this guy, it's out of your view here. A-10C gets set down. If we follow the line all the way down, he goes down here, right? So he sits beside it here on these two pictures. But we've got to put N24 in. I think I'm going to do the canopy open on this plane, which is why I'm going to be bothering with this. Normally I wouldn't bother with the open version, but this time I am. So I'm going to hold on to this with my tweezers like this. He's going to go in right in here. That's where they show it. But he's supposed to be going on a bit of an angle like this. So, glue on that edge, and then like this. Tucked in there like that. So that's basically what the gist I could get from looking at that. See in there, that's the way I've put them, it's like that. Okay. How correct that is, I'm not sure, but that's what it looks like in the picture there. And of course we're going to put, they want the little ball yellow on that too. And that's going to be after painting it all black. Okay, we can get A-10C. A-10C. So my O tree happens to be here still. Number 19 is right here. Okay, A-10C. I also need N12. They show it here installed, how it's supposed to go in. And we need N26. And 12 and 26. 12, it's this guy here. And 26. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Just dropped them. There he is. Sometimes when you drop these you got a gray part, and the diagram's all, every diagram is all gray. It's a little bit hard to find when you drop a part. Okay, so going back to this guy, he's going to go here like this, but if I put him in first, it's going to be too hard to get into those other pieces. So you got to do these other ones first. N26. You can sort of see where it goes in there. N26 is going to go into our little rectangular hole that's in the back here. I'm going to get my tweezers because my fat fingers are too big to fit in there. So he goes like this, and this is N12. You can see the way this orients with this little kind of a tab facing the back. He doesn't really want to go into his hole very well, but we can make him go. So that's how those two sit, and then this guy's going to go up on top of him, kind of go over him, which I guess N12 is going to sit under here. It looks like he might sit under this little notch right in there. Put this guy down. That's exactly where he sits, but it kind of looks like I have him backwards. I believe I have him backwards, so I'm going to have to pull him back out. Let's pull him back out. Turn him around. The easiest way is going to be actually to turn it like this. There we go. Okay, so he's in again. And he sits perfectly in his little notch there. Once you get it lined up, it's sitting properly. Yeah, just like that. Okay, so we're going to put some glue on, and we need to see what colors these are supposed to be, because I'm going to have to paint them and then put it all together. So let's glue these in so that they stay where they're supposed to. Now before, I'm going to put this aside because I'm not using this one. This one is for the closed canopy. Okay. So I've got to paint. I got to paint under here because we don't want to leave that gray. That's not supposed to be. This thing is supposed to be painted black. So, and everything is supposed to be flat black. Where's my flat black? There it is. Okay, he can go over here. You are not. Let's actually see. He's supposed to go in right beside up here. How does he sit? he's supposed to sit like kind of on the side of this, like this. They imply that he's got a tab. Let's follow him down. They kind of make it look like there's a notch for him to go in. But there isn't. They show it right beside it like this. Right on this two-piece. Ah, there is a little bit of a notch there. Kind of. Sort of, kind of, but not really. He sits like this. It's a little unfortunate that he's hollow on this edge. I don't like that. I don't like the hollowness. It's okay though, because I'm going to paint it black. And what I'm going to do is I'll start by painting the inside of them black. I'm going to change my glasses out here. I'm really stubborn sometimes, and I don't want to change my glasses. Okay, I'm going to paint the inside of him here. This side needs paint. And a little bit on the bottom because it's going to be hard to get at later. Where's the bottom? This side. Just while it's on the clip, I might as well do all the sides I have access to. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now, this guy, I need to paint him underneath. Paint the underneath, and then I can glue it down. See, he's got lots of little nooks and crannies here on the underneath. They've done a lot of detail on this guy that's kind of unnecessary, like this underside. Really unnecessary detail. It's not, you're not really going to see it, but at the same time, it's there, so I want to do it. Okay, I think that's good enough. That's painted. Now they do show like our little bar there. This guy's supposed to be copper, and then our shaft is supposed to be silver, of course. So I did not mark C10. I don't know what color that is. Let me refer to my sheet. C10, of course, is copper, so it's supposed to be copper here also. Both of these are supposed to be copper. Which means I got to dig out my box of metallics to find my copper paint. It's my little box of Tamiya metallic paints I don't use very often. So let's dig these out.
Later.
So I'm going to have to resort to some Vallejo. I'm going to use Vallejo's gold. And that's just going to have to be my reasonable facsimile to copper. I hate that. Nothing but little bubbles comes out at first. There we go. I'm not a huge fan of Vallejo paints. I mean, they're okay. But okay. It looks kind of coppery. Coppery, yeah. That's my word of the day, coppery. Let's put this away. Wipe this clean. And now we're going to do the silver. We got to do the actual shaft, or you know, in the mechanics world they call it a ram. Let's get my Molotov chrome. Paint this up. With the Molotov, you want to put it on just a little bit thick. Thicker than you might do with everything else. That's really how you get your chrome look on there. Don't be afraid to give it a nice thick coat. It does kind of self-level. There we go. Okay. Now with that all done, I think we're ready to install the parts once I clean up my brush here. Okay. All right, so with that done, I want to dip this guy in his yellow, because once he's on there, I'm not going to be able to dip him in. Let's see if I can actually get the proper angle I need to dip it in straight. There we go. It's a nice little yellow ball on there now. Speaking of little yellow balls, we can go back to that other little one that I needed to install. This guy. This little yellow ball is nice and dry now. So I'm going to attempt to put him in his little spot. I need to flip back and see, because he has an angle on him. I need to see, is he supposed to face back or is he supposed to face front? So let's just take a look here. Supposed to face back. And he goes back into this little slot here like this. But I need to glue him down. So let's just put him down there. Up again. Get him oriented right. A little glue on the bottom of him. And into that little spot right there. Like that. And that's how he's supposed to sit, like that. All right. So, back to this guy. I'm going to try and be a little careful not to touch that little yellow ball. I'm going to put some glue here. And I'm going to put a little glue on the top of this where it touches. And we're going to set this guy in. That. So this sits like this. It's just a little bit crooked, but that's okay. Straighten them up. Get that straight on there. Our little rod is a little crooked on there, so I'm going to bend them a little bit. He needs to be convinced to be straightened. That's better. Now, if you move your parts around too much, the glue will basically say, oh yeah, is that the way it is? Okay, fine, I'm not going to hold. So then you have to reapply your glue. So there we go. Now I'm going to have to paint this black. That's alright, we'll get there. I don't want to paint it while the glue's wet. I do want to make sure he's in there all the way. Okay, and now we have our A-10C, this guy here. And he's basically just going to sit down right back here. Like this. So, glue on this little tab here. And he sits right here. Like that. Just making sure he's straight. There we go. And it's a little bit hard to see now that I've got it all painted black, but you get the idea of where it is, right? And how it sits. Like that. Okay. So that's those. We'll let that sit. Now we got to get our little side panels, I-15 and I-14, off of our I tree again. 14 and 15. I already have these painted the same color as the cockpit. These are relatively simple to figure out which is left and right on these. They're only going to fit one way. I'm just going to make sure my nubs are clean. Okay, so essentially this one goes here. This. Now my little throttle thing might be in the way, but that's okay. It's going to go in, he's going to notch in right there. It actually fits quite nicely. in there. So some of this glue in along that edge. I went and painted all this, not realizing I was going to be putting these panels in. There we go. It slots in nicely. There we go. There's one side. Let's get this guy in. Same, just kind of drops in there and sits just like he's supposed to. There we go. That's, I'd say, the most unfortunate thing about cockpits is these side panels that just kind of come up and cover. They come up over a little bit, and then you can't see in the cockpit like you used to. And then, of course, the last thing to do is the seat. The seat's going to drop in here. I'm not going to glue the seat in right now. I'm just going to put it in just to show you guys. The seat's going to be one of the last things I do. I'm just making sure it's going to fit. It's a kind of a tight fit actually, but that's how it's going to fit, like this. And that would be your cockpit. Just like that. Okay, so let's pull this seat out. There you go. It's a tight fit. Once I get some glue down in there, I'll put glue down on the rails and everything, and it'll slide in. But we got to paint this up. That's got to be flat black. That's just the way it is. Flat black. My little control box is not glued down properly. There's not enough glue on it. It's wanting to move around. I just painted my little yellow knob black by mistake. Which kind of sucks. Kind of is what it is though. And also I want to do this little guy up here. Problem with flat black, sometimes you can't even tell what you're doing until it's too late. For example, I just painted my little yellow knob on there because my brush was hitting it. I was trying to access another spot, but my brush was hitting it and completely painted the knob black. And that sucks. And I got a few little details on here that I want to fix up. And touch up a little bit. Little things like right in between the two knobs, I would like to get those black in there, but there we go. That's looking pretty good. Except my little box is way out of whack here. That needs to be fixed. Tighten that up. I'm going to clean up my brush in a sec, but I want to glue this. I gotta get my little box glued down properly. The more I move it around, the more it's wanting to loosen up. It really just doesn't want to sit in that spot it's supposed to. There we go. And I noticed it's touching here, so I'm going to glue it to the side thing too. They show it here how it's supposed to sit. But in reality, because it's not actually being tabbed into a specific thing, and just kind of sitting on top, it doesn't really sit until you get some glue on it. Okay, we're good now. That's got to dry. Now that's all got to dry up, and I do want to put another coat of black, flat black around the back here. But I want to see what's next, because that's it for this page. That's it for steps 3 and 4. Let's see what is. Oh, we got to put decal on. Decal's on this guy here on the side, and the decal also on our little box. So that's fine. And they show it's supposed to be on this side of them on the back. Okay. So let's just flip over and see what's next. Looks like working on our HUD. So we're going to do this. We're going to do this next time, guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put Q10 and 11 together and paint those black. Yeah. Going to get those painted black and get this kind of ready for assembly. Okay. I'm going to get this stuff painted and ready to be assembled for next time. And then we'll work on this, and then we'll get to work on our front landing gear bay. Alright, so that's what we're going to do next time. That is what we're going to do next time, guys. That's going to be it for today. And yeah, we'll let this dry, and I'll get that painted and done. And yeah, so I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you for coming out. I want to thank you for all your support and the comments, everything. Thank you, guys. So if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button down below, down over there somewhere, and also like this stuff. If you like this stuff, hit the like button too. Leave a comment down below if you feel like. I always love to hear your feedback. And I say here, but really I'm just reading it. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Anyway, guys, thanks again, and we'll see you all in the next one.